So thanks very much everybody for coming to this our chat today, really, I suppose. What we're wanting to do is celebrate International Women's Day. And oh my goodness, what a year we've all had, both as staff members at Ayrshire College and students. And thank goodness we have got an inspirational leader such as Carol Turnbull, who's our principal and chief executive, to lead us through these challenging times in such a calm and really inspiring manner. And I'm really glad that we've got Megan Bell and Chloe Nicol, who are on the Access to Humanities and Primary Education course with us today. And they're going to be asking Carol some questions along the lines of, you know, what makes her such an inspirational leader. So who would like to start first? What about you, Megan? What would you like?
Well done. I was going to say we'd already decided I would go first. Yeah, so the first kind of thing we wanted to say was just it's great to see so many women leading in the college, from kind of like tutors through to kind of management, and Elaine's obviously our kind of course leader. So what we were just wondering what you think women bring to the team?
Oh, good question. Well, I suppose like men, different women bring different things. And, you know, it's not true. It's very easy to start to get into stereotypes when you start talking about difference between men and women. But I think in general, women probably bring a little bit more empathy towards the role, and perhaps are not quite as competitive as men. Now that is very general. I'm very conscious I'm being very, very general here. I also think that there is an understanding and appreciation that a lot of women who are also in jobs have that work-life balance to juggle and to manage and so on. And very often, they're quite often primary carers and things at home. So I think it's that empathy and that experience and just that thinking about the other person and what it's like for the other person. So again, without wanting to be too general, I think that's something that perhaps women are generally a bit stronger at.
Totally agree.
Who are your inspirational women in your life?
Oh goodness me. When I was in Dumfries and Galway, before I moved up here to Ayrshire anyway, I worked with a lady called Dame Barbara Kelly, who was a primary school teacher, and as she liked to call herself, a farmer's wife. But actually she did so much work for the region. She was instrumental in bringing the University of Glasgow down to the Crichton campus, which was where the college was, and UWS also had a campus there. And she was just an incredible woman, and I learned so much from her about how to work with other people. And you know, that whole thing I've just talked about being empathetic and things like that. Dame Barbara was just a great example of that for me. So in terms of my working career, I think she's been a huge influence on me. And other women, some are, you know, people that you'd expect, but actually I've got a lot of admiration for some of the what you would now term as some of the older singers and pop artists who in my day was quite avant-garde. So people like Blondie, Debbie Harry, were the Pretenders, Chrissie Hynde. These were all women who, when I was young, that was really quite out there and avant-garde, and I just used to love listening and finding out about them. So a whole variety of women, really.
Yeah, I think there's quite a lot of them have kind of paved the way for us to kind of be able to follow in their footsteps. Well, my next question was, what had made you become so ambitious to aim for the job as principal and CEO?
Do you know what? I've been asked that one before, and this sounds a bit crazy, but I don't actually think I am particularly ambitious. I think I was lucky. I went into FE. I was a lecturer. I lectured in business and management, and then an opportunity arose to set up a commercial company in the college I was in, and I just decided to do that for a change. And then I guess the rest is history, as you say. So I think with a lot of women, I think there's a kind of need to prove yourself, a need to show others and yourself that you maybe can do something. And there is that little competitive element too, about putting yourself out there and thinking, well, can I do it? So I don't know if that's ambition or whether it's actually more that kind of need to achieve. And I bet you two feel exactly the same. And
just then you're nodding.
Sheila nodding there as well. Yeah. So a lot of luck and being in the right place at the right time, I think. I never set out wanting to be a principal. It's just kind of one of those things that happened, but I'm very lucky and very pleased that I did become a principal.
So my next question is, what achievement or achievements are you most proud of in your life?
Oh my goodness me, I never knew these questions would be so hard. What am I most proud of? I think, I'll tell you something completely off the wall. I took part in a competition years and years ago, which was a driving competition. And it was filmed, but it was put on by Sky, and it was called Formula Women. And they took novice women drivers, and you went through a whole series of competitions, and they took the top 50 from the UK down to a place called Cadwell Park. And it was a bit like Big Brother. Every day somebody got eliminated from the competition in terms of how your driving went. And I think I got through to about the last 32 or something. So actually, that's actually one of the things I'm most proud about, because it's completely different and was completely out of my comfort zone to anything I'd ever done before.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. I'm quite impressed with that one. So the next question we had was, this has obviously been a very challenging year for everyone, and we're wondering what it'd been like to be the principal of such a large college during a really kind of tough academic year.
It has been tough. There's no getting away from it. And my biggest worry, and the thing that keeps me awake at nights, is worrying about staff and students. My biggest fear has been an outbreak on campus and somebody falling seriously ill. And in a sense, on my watch, I would feel personally really quite responsible for that. So that side of it's actually been the hardest. In terms of, I guess, the college, when you've got a great team round about you, then it makes it much easier. And one of the things I've absolutely loved since I came to Ayrshire is just the leadership qualities that there are across the whole college. And I'm not just talking at senior level, I'm talking at all levels. You'll have seen yourself the lecturers who have just jumped onto the online stuff and have led with different innovations, creativity, and all of these things. So it's actually, it's the team, and it's having such a brilliant team right across the college that's really kind of helped me. I like to do what I like to lead from behind, and that's just support others and help others kind of do their jobs. And luckily at Ayrshire, we've got an absolutely brilliant team. And I'm not just saying that, I genuinely mean that. They are a fantastic team.
The next question we have is, what have you learned from this time?
What have I learned from this time? To try and not stress about things I can't control. And I think if we've all learned anything, it's we're not as in control of things as we think we might be. So I've learned that. I've learned to a certain extent, I guess, to take things as they come, and not worry too much about the future, whilst at the same time still thinking about the future and planning for the future. And I have learned, if I didn't know it before, then the value of teamwork. And I mean that with people in the college, but also my fellow principals and a lot of other people who work in the sector and who have been working with me over the last 11 months to try and move the sector forward, support the students as best we can, and work with Scottish Government through the whole pandemic. So I've learned an awful lot in the last year, as I think everybody probably has.
Yeah, we were wondering if it had changed your perspective at all.
You mean in life or in terms of the college?
Just in general, just in either college or life in general.
Well, I think in the college, it's going to change how we work in the future. I don't ever see us going completely back to the way we were before COVID. I think there's been an awful lot of positives that have come out of this year. And I think some of the things around flexibility of working and a bit more freedom for staff perhaps to work from home as well as come into the college and work. I think there's a lot about remote service delivery that's good. I certainly won't be travelling to as many meetings in the future as I did in the past, so that's always a positive thing. And I think on a personal level, I think I've discovered I'm probably more resilient than perhaps I thought I was. And I think that's probably similar with a lot of people. But I think the best thing and probably the thing that's most changed my perspective, and Sheila will know this, is we got a puppy during lockdown, a little black lab puppy who's now 11 months and not so little. But I think that has given me a whole different perspective, and having something else to focus on and something else to be responsible for has really helped in terms of my own mental health too. So having the dog is probably one of the most positive things, I think.
Moving on, how do you stay positive? But you've just kind of covered that with your dog. But
I'm a great believer in what's meant for you won't go by you, and you know, like everybody, I've had knockbacks. I've not always got the jobs, you know, when I've gone for them and stuff. But I always think then afterwards, when I've looked back, I think, well, that was good actually that I didn't get that, because something else even better has happened. And I also just think, you know, in terms of the pandemic, although in our lifetime we've not really experienced anything like this before, these kind of things have happened before in history, and you know, people have got through it and people have moved on. And I think if you always look for the positive, just what we were saying about what's come out about online service delivery, then actually I think in 3 or 5 years we'll look back and we'll go, okay, the pandemic wasn't positive, but there was so much good stuff that came out of it. And that just helps us, I think, as a college and as people. I think we'll appreciate each other much more. You know, it's 6 months since I saw my mum and dad, because they live down in Dumfries, you know, so things like that you just don't take for granted anymore, do you, in terms of family and friends? So I'm hoping we'll all come out of this and just be a bit more appreciative about each other.
Definitely.
I totally agree. My nana lives in Dumfries and Galloway as well, and we've not been able to see her, so but you've just got to go with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's hard. So obviously you're very busy in your role. We were wondering how you kind of manage your work-life balance, and if you think you're getting it right, if you're.
Sometimes I'm better than others. I took part in the February walking challenge that we did at the college, so it was a step thing. So that's been really good, because it's made me plan time to be able to go out and walk. I do a bit of swimming when we're allowed to, and I really miss that. So I quite like working from home in some ways, but I do find that I'm not very good at separating work from home. So I can sit at 7 o'clock at night and be checking emails, or I'll get up in the morning and I'm having my cup of tea at 7 in the morning and I'm checking my emails and stuff. So there's a bit of that I'm not so good at and could probably do to be a bit better at. But overall, I think it's pretty good. And you know, we're lucky that in our world we still have our weekends, so in a sense weekends are a time to be able to switch off. So I try and do that as best I can.
And that follows on to the last question we have, is how do you relax or switch off?
I love music, so I play a lot of music. I bought myself a keyboard at the start of lockdown and decided that I would learn. I have no talent whatsoever. I think I play keyboard the same way as I cook. I follow the steps one by one, but I don't have a creative bone in my body, but it's been a great distraction. And Actually, I really like doing jigsaws too. I find that they're something that completely take me away and absorb me. So, and walking. I love getting out and walking.
Yeah, I think we've all well, most of us have kind of taken up walking, I think, with the lockdown. I find for me as well, it kind of helps clear your head and kind of sort things and kind of order it all.
Definitely.
Well, thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate that. And it's been nice getting to know you a bit more as well, actually. It's been, it's been really interesting.
It's been lovely to meet you too. And I think the only thing I would say is I'm delighted and honoured that you wanted to interview me. I'm not an inspirational woman. I'm just an ordinary person like everybody else who's been extraordinarily lucky, I think, and have had one or two things go my way. So I can't wait to 10 years' time, maybe be interviewing you two and going, you two are inspirational women. So thank you very much for having me on and for interviewing me. It's been lovely to meet you.
It's been lovely to meet you too. Thank you.
Thanks very much, and thanks to both you, Chloe and Megan, for giving up your time today to do that. I really enjoyed listening to your questions and chatting away to Carol, and I'm all the best next year for your course at UWS, and I wish you every success in that.
Thank you.
And
yeah, me too.
Thank you, Carol, as well for your time today.
Thank you for organising it, Sheila. And lovely to meet you, Megan and Chloe. Best of luck with the rest of your course.
Thank you.
Take care.
Okay, bye just now. Bye.
Bye.